Hello and welcome back to my Java tutorial series on teaching you how to make your own dice roller application in Java. Now, yesterday we created all the infrastructure we'll need, or at least most of it, for the GUI we'll be using in this. And today we're actually going to be making the GUI and displaying some actual dice rolls and other random numbers. Now, before we actually start coding, I want you to see in my package structure, which is really just, a folder structure, that I inside my package dice roller, I have .res, which stands for resources, which you would normally put all the images and other sounds and non-code stuff for your applications or games. And here I have 8 PNG images that I made myself. They're not high quality at all because I am by no means an artist. And they're just different sides of a die. One, it's prefixed by D6. That's a D6 die. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll see all of them when we actually program them. And the D2, this is just the coin flip that I made. And this is particularly bad texture that I might actually change in the future. And I'll show you how to change either way. But realize that we're putting them inside the package structure as opposed to outside the program, which is another method used, which we might get into in another tutorial. Right now they're in the package structure, which will be more convenient. Now we need to add some things here that we'll need. First is the heart and soul of this dice roller, which is a random object. It's just called random. I don't think you have to import it. Or you do. Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's an import. Darn. Well, yeah, that's a random object. We'll be showing, I'll be teaching you all the different methods it has so we can actually make pseudo-random numbers. And then we'll need an array of images, which will be all the images of our dice and the coin sides. And then we'll need one image, which will be the result image. And then we need an integer, which will be the result, and that'll be the result number. So right now we have images for the coin and the D6, but for everything else that I will not be making the images to, we'll just use a number and display a number, and this will be what it'll be. So right now we're going to go down here into this method and just add a few lines. First thing we're going to do is going to instantiate rand to a new random. So now we can actually use it. New random. Silly me. Then right down here we're going to add 2 methods. And we're going to call, and it's just going to be public void draw result. Just for the sake of cleanliness, we'll draw the result separate from the other stuff. And then down here, where did I actually put that? That's okay, that makes sense. So we probably won't put that here then. And then below here we'll put public void load dice. Now the first thing we're going to do is load the dice. So we're going to say our dice array, which we established just at the top, is a new image array, and right now it'll just have 8 indices, since we're just going to have 6 for the D6 and 2 for the coin. Now we have to have a try loop, because almost all I/O operations, or input-output operations, you're going to have to catch an I/O exception. And we'll just print the stack trace. And import I/O exception. Or, oh, well, no, it's already imported because we did the dot, but now we can actually put things. Now we can say dice 0 equals image IO, which is a class with the static method read, and we'll give it a URL. Now there are several different ways to read an image, which one of the ways is reading it outside of the jar, but a great way to load images, which will package everything nicely into the application, so you won't have to keep it in a folder with images, is that we put all of our image inside the source folder, so it's a part of the source. And in order to get to it, we can't just use any file path. We're going to have to use this, which references, the main class, except we're going to get the class object, and we're going to say get resource, which means you're getting a resource, which is what res stands for, inside of it. So in these quotation marks, it would be /, and then you would do your package names with / instead of dots. Remember, capitalization is extremely important. And then you would do the name of the thing you're fetching, including the file extension. So this will load the that side of the coin, which I think is the head side, and that will load it from the class resources and put it into dice in index 0. So then all we have to do from here is copy it several times. This will be 2. Then the rest of then these are all the d6s. And then we just have to count and then count these up. I mean, there are easier ways, like there would be shorter ways to do this, like using for loops and such, but we're only loading 8 images, so it doesn't hardly matter in this situation. So over here, we're going to load dice. So, the dice actually get loaded, which would be nice. Next thing is we're actually going to make a GUI. Well, a better GUI than our test button that we had earlier. So, over here in the GUI, we still have to keep that. And just so everything looks nice, I'm going to make an integer that I talked about in the previous episode. And it's going to be frame.getInsets.top. So if you notice in the previous episode when we drew this, it was actually up into the toolbar of the window. But using this top integer will account for that, so everything looks not stupid. Now we're going to change this first thing to coin. It is going to be framed. We're actually going to put it at 10, and then it's going to be top plus 10. And then we'll put it 100 wide and 20 tall. Now the thing about this, now we can actually, we do need to implement two other things in fact. We need to implement an action listener, so that way our buttons can actually be listened to in this class, and then a mouse listener, so it knows if and when we click on something, which will be the button. And then we just add all those unimplemented methods. And quick, we'll just do frame.addMouseListener, so I don't forget that. Anything else I forgot there? No, okay. And then this action performed will be very important. We're going to move that. But first, we're going to make these look all nice and pretty. Because these ones we don't need in this specific project. Mouse pressed is the one we will be using. I'll just keep that there for now because I need to move this action performed first. There's action performed, and then I'll move this closer to there as well. There, mouse pressed. So first we'll just do this mouse pressed thing because it's very simple. So for iClickable, which is this is the whole reason why we made the button in the first place. Well, actually, we're not going to shift through that. For every GUI element in the GUI, which this is an advanced for loop. Oh, I keep forgetting that's singular. And this is, called like an advanced for loop. So you pass an array on the right side of the colon, and what the object is on the left side. So the GE will sift through this for every single index in the array, and it will be GE. So we're going to say if GE is an instance of I clickable, we're going to say if mouse event E dot, actually we're going to say if GE dot bounds dot x, wait, no, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting we just call bounds, and we're going to say contains a point, and that'll be, actually, can we just get a point directly from it? Get locate, well, if it's pressed, that probably is. Yeah, we'll get the point of the event, which will be the point that the mouse is at. We're going to say I clickable of the, actually we should put I clickable, and then we'll put GE dot click. So that means, first thing, we're going through everything in the GUI, and we're saying if it's clickable. So if something happens when you click on it, we're going to say if we did click on it. So if where you press the mouse down is the button, then we're just going to tell it click. And then this action performed, we're just going to put something in here real quick. It's going to e.getActionCommand. And we'll worry about what's in there later. First thing, so now we're actually going to continue with what we were doing, which is, of course, making the GUI. Now, the GUI button, we're going to say gbe.setActionCommand. Now, what I normally do for action commands, so you can easily keep track of them, especially if you have a lot, is that you're going to make static strings for them. So if this is we'll just say D2. Yeah, that'll work. Equals D2. And I'm calling it D2 instead of coin because that way it matches the system better. Like, we'll have another one, and the action command will be D6. And then we'll have another one just for later. Well, we'll have two other ones, and this will be a D20, since that's a commonly used die. And we'll call another one clear. And that's all we need right there. So we're going to set this action command, which is coin, to D2. So it's easy to reference. And then add action listener, this. And then we can just add it. And now all we have to do is copy this thrice. And what we can actually do is, now that I realized it, I'm going to take these away real quick. This one will say, this is a coin, this is a D6. It will be framed. Well, actually, what we're going to do is we want it to look exactly the same as the previous one. So we're going to say it's going to be at position 10. It's going to be top plus 30, which is 10 plus 20, which is the height of this, and then plus 10 indented down. So 30 is the top to the bottom of the button above, and there will be a space of 10 in between. And then we'll just pass the previous GB as the argument, so it'll be the exact same height, width, font, and whether it's framed or not. So this time the action command will be D6, not D caret, and that works perfectly. And we'll just add another one now. So now we'll label this one D20, oh, not 10, D20, it'll be D20. And it'll be top plus another 30 for, the previous button again. And then this one will be clear, and of course this will be the clear action command, and it'll be plus 30 plus 30 plus the 10 to accommodate all the different buttons. So that'll be our GY. So let's see if that's working. First time running the program this episode. Just wait for it. There we go. Coin D6, D20, clear. Now if we do something, if we click on them, nothing's going to happen since we haven't added any methods to the action performed method. But we will. But first, I'm going to go to draw. G2 dot fill rectangle 0, 0 size dot width and size dot height. But before I do that, I should know I have to set the color, and we'll just make it color dot light. Light gray. Let's see how that works real quick. See, there we go. It looks nice. And see how it actually accounted for the toolbar. Well, I mean the top bar, whatever. And actually, just to make this pretty, just a random method. Yeah. We're going to say set location relative to. And we're going to say null. So if you remember, when we just started it, it was in the upper left-hand corner. But if we run it now, it should be in the middle. There. It's right in the middle of the screen. So a lot better, in my opinion. Now that we got that down, let's set up the action listener. So the first thing we're going to do before we do that is we're going to make sure the result is null. Well, the image is null and the result is 0, because that's going to be our stuff. Did I not set this up, or did I call it something else? Oh, I'll shorten this, because what else could IMG stand for? So we make that, because when we set up the draw result method, we're going to make sure it checks, so that way it doesn't draw the image and the number, or neither. That's just for safe. So we're going to say case D2. Again, we're using not the string, but the variable D2, which is a string. I'm actually going to indent this because I prefer switches indented like this. We're going to say res image equals dice ran dot. Now, if we look through the different stuff, all of the methods that for generating random things start with next, and they just go through the next random number in this random object. So next integer will make a random integer between 0 and the maximum integer value, which is 2 to the power of 31. And well, it's 2 to the power of 31 positive numbers, and then the same negative numbers. And then this next integer method, which is what we will be using, will generate a random integer from 0 inclusive to the specified number exclusive. So if we did next integer 2, it would generate either 0 or 1. Long generates a long, Boolean generates either true or false. The double generates a double between 0 and 1. Next float also generates a float in between 0 and 1. And then a Gaussian is a different type of random number, which is also a double, but instead of being a uniform randomness, it is actually fit to a bell curve in the middle. And then next bytes just generates a random array of bytes. So if we just go to next integer, just going to be 2, so this will reference either index 0 or 1. Oh, mess it up. 0 or 1, which is either heads or tails. And then we'll just break. And then we'll do case D6. And we're going to say random next integer 6 plus 2. This will generate a 0 to 5. And we add 2 so we don't access any of the coins, since there's 2 coins. So we add 2 to avoid the coins. So we don't accidentally flip a coin when we're trying to roll a die. Next, do a case for the D20 die. And we're going to say result equals random dot next integer 20 plus 1. Because, on a D20 die, it doesn't go 0 to 19, it goes 1 to 20. Then I'll go break. Then one last case, which will be clear. And it really wouldn't do anything since this actually clears the result and result image already. So we can just break here, which means we're not setting any result or result image. So that's the action performer. But now we actually have to draw the result when we get it, which is pretty easy. So if the result image does not equal null, which is our checking, so if it equals null, we realize we're not supposed to draw an image. We'll say g2 dot draw image, and we're going to take this first one. The image will be the result image. The destination, which is where we're drawing it onto the window, will be 436, which right now I'm just trying to... I did this math beforehand, and I'm just lining it up to the right-hand side of... indented on the right-hand side of the window. So 436, 36, 564, 164. Now the source X is just going to be 0, 0, 16, since the images I made are 16 by 16. So they're not going to be very good quality. That's all we have to do for that. Else, if the result number does not equal 0, which is another, form of, checking to make sure we're supposed to be displaying something, we're going to set the color to color.black. We're going to set the font, and it's going to be just a new font. It's going to be Arial is a nice font. We'll just make it plain. Why not? And we'll make it some more math that I figured out beforehand, which is, well, actually, this is just the height of the window minus the header and footer. I gave the image's indentation. So it's going to be the same height as the image would be. So now all we have to do is draw the string, which is just going to be string dot value of result, and we're going to display that at 436, 164. Now, if I set everything up right, let's run it and see if I did. So, just in a couple seconds, the GUI should render. There's a GUI. Now, if we press D20, nothing will happen. Set action plan, set action listener, action performed, D20 result equals random.next integer. Oh, it might be the mouse pressed. I don't know if this is right. Actually, did I add I added the mouse listener. I knew I added the mouse listener. Just see real quick if it's drawing correctly. Oh, yep, there's our... We forgot to add the draw result method. Go us. I mean me. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we had to pass G2 to it. Now let's run it and watch it work perfectly. So now we can D20. Oh, look, it's 5. Oh, look, it's an 18, 29. You know, it's a D20 die. Now if we roll a coin, oh, look, tail, T for tails, H for heads. And of course, it's just random. So if you just keep clicking it, you know, that was a long string of heads. That, yeah, just heads or tails. D6 is 2, 3, 1, 2, 6, 3, 5, 2. I hope you appreciate my textures. 1, 3, and if we press clear, just disappears completely. Ta-da! It's a D6, you know, just keep rolling it. You got a D6 with beautiful textures. D20, you know, just a random number between 1 and 20 inclusive. And as you can see, you know, if you roll the D6, it's actually at a nice spot, except that I forgot to account for the toolbar. No problem. We don't need to do that. But anyway, I think this might have been a long episode. I'm not sure. I don't keep track of time. My apologies. But as you can see, we actually, you know, we succeeded in making a dice roller, since it does generate random numbers and dice, and different dice, you know, D6, and here's a coin. Now basically, you know, if you've been programming along with me, and you've hopefully learned about this stuff, you know, you can change the images. What you would do here is that, what you should do actually, if you want to make it adaptable, which I'll do right now, you should do result image dot get width, and we'll just say a null image observer, and we'll do result image dot get height. We'll just do a null observer. So now, no matter what image you put in for these, it'll adjust accordingly. And all you have to do is, you know, do the same methods we did here, and all you have to do is, you know, change, you know, whether this accesses an image or change the number. So, you know, if you've learned how this works, then when you're coding, you can, this is completely expandable for you. You can add, you know, D3s, D10s, D100s, which, you know, are a pain in the ass to roll, so a nice random number generator for that would be nice. Unless you rolled 2 D10s, but, you know, it's overrated. So this is completely adjustable for you, which is, you know, why I teach you, so you can make your own. So if you actually, you know, use this, you can actually expand upon it and make any type of die roll or random number generate that you need generated. And next episode, since I don't need to, you know, add on, since this is just to teach you, not to give you a dice roller, next episode I will be, if you haven't seen my physics tutorial series, I will be reteaching you how to package this into a jar and send it to other people and execute it and stuff. But until next time, I am Baralaborn, and good luck programming.